Peace and blessings.
The Black Coffee Podcast. The Black Coffee Podcast. Black Coffee Podcast.
Yeah.
The Black Coffee Podcast.
Ooh, that's so cool. Ooh, that's so cool.
So cool, you did this one, man. Yeah.
Alright, I bring peace and blessings to listeners all over the world. Thank you for tuning to the Black Coffee Podcast. You could have been doing anything else with your time right now, but you're here with me, and I just want you to know that I greatly appreciate that. Today's episode is brought to you by GOAT Behavior Apparel, for those that create their own path to define their own greatness. Move different, behave different. So get your behavior right with GOAT Behavior Apparel, and that's at goatbehaviorapparel.com. All right, U.N.I.A world. We have a very special guest in the building today for episode 30. Creative director and fashion designer Marie Antoinette is in the building. Can we give her a round of applause or wherever you're at, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're listening to this at or watching it? Let's give Marie Antoinette a round of applause. All right. Thank you. All right, Marie Antoinette.
Hey.
For those who don't know you, tell U.N.I.A world just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I am a creative director and a fashion designer, and I'd like to just incorporate all forms of art and present it in some type of socio-economic way. So I like to combine art with things that's going on in the world.
Art with things that's going on in the world. All right, now before we get into this podcast, I do want to stop and give my condolences about your mother. I was on Instagram and I was looking through stories like I always do, and I'm noticing you got a lot of pictures up there, and I'm like, yeah, that's mama. And then I'm seeing more of them, and it's starting to sink in what's really going on.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about that?
Not really. It was just my mother was, I gave her an award at Sapphire Diamond. Mm-hmm. In 2021, she was honored as someone who just give a lot, and her legacy will live on for that. Just the biggest heart and just a wonderful person. So there's not much to say. If you knew her, you loved her, and that's that.
Yeah, I kept checking in with you. I'm like, you sure you want to do the show?
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't want to,
Yeah, she would say, "Child, go ahead." That's how she was. So
Yeah, you said kept pressing on, so that's what
right.
we did. All right, so real quick, let's talk about Melanin. Melanin had a lot of success for yourself and mine. For our podcast, like you really brought the ladies out to the Black Coffee Podcast. You always do.
Yeah.
So real quick, let's talk about how has things changed since Melanin?
I think that, first of all, Melanin was a coffee table book and a documentary that I did.
Let everybody know what Melanin was.
On colorism. And I think it changed just like my brand as far as more awareness, because that's where I got the most traction. Like, even though I'm fashion, right? So I'm always trying to tie art into societal, socioeconomic, or whatever type of issues. And that just brought on the most traction and created more brand awareness and just other opportunities with speaking on different podcasts. And it actually led to promoting that, actually led to the inspiration behind my new collection. So, and I bought you a book.
Oh my God.
Yes. So that's for you.
I don't want to give the joke about the backline joke.
Don't even. It's yours. Let that go.
Let it go. But yes.
Let it go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I finally have a book. So why didn't you do a fashion show for Melanin?
Because I wasn't inspired to do so. Like, that was a separate project. So I knew my next fashion show, I want Sapphire Diamonds to continue as an annual thing. And I did a documentary and we did the book, and I think that just was my focus. I didn't want to take away from the message with too many clothes either. Like, I just wanted the pureness of what I was talking about, and for people to see all shades of black and see the beauty in it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was definitely. I know that was a question. I know people was waiting for the fashion show.
Yeah.
Where is the Me too.
You never know. Maybe in a year or so I might get a bug up my behind and like, okay, I'll do a Melanin show. But it just that I have to be passionate about something or like really want to do it, and I wasn't moved to do that.
Well, I would like to announce and thank you. I think I told you before that you probably thought about it and that's it. But your episode on melanin was top 15 percentile in all the podcasts. And how that works is how many downloads you get per week. Well, at your first week that the podcast is actually live, and I want to say yours had 500 downloads within the first 7 days. That is amazing, and it really jumped and lifted my women listeners. I really wanted that because I can be so masculine with a lot of things I say, of course, with this black coffee. So I just really want to just thank you for really working with me and being who you are. A lot of people notice what you're doing.
And I do want to say melanin that's not the end. Like melanin is a continuous thing. Like it's a second book, and then I'm incorporating different cultures because colorism is in India and Asia and things like that. And then multiple documentary series. It's just, I paused it. I'm working on something. I'm only one person, but there's more to come with melanin.
Do you feel any pressure from melanin? Do you feel any pressure for your next projects?
Like as far as
Pressure.
successful?
Yes. For as melanin was huge.
It was.
So do you feel pressure for everything else you do to be as huge, or you're okay with like that was?
I'm gonna say that's a great question, but if I really am truly and honest with myself, I'm gonna say no, because I do stuff just because I'm inspired by it. Like, yes, I want people to recognize the brand and see what I'm doing. You don't just do it for nothing. And then if you're doing something in a business, you do want to see return on your investment. But at the same time, like a lot of this stuff come to me in a dream, no lie. So I feel like I have an assignment to go ahead and do it, whether I reap the benefit or somebody else. So the pressure, no, because I feel like once God give it to me, it's going to be great anyway. And it's not credit to me. That's why I always say I'm a vessel. I don't even credit myself for it. Like it comes through me, I put it out, and then that's what it is.
Your social media presence has picked up. I was one of the first ones following you when you only had 400 followers. I just want you to know that, okay? So I've been
Thank you.
from 400 down to I think you're definitely in 1,000, but you're picking up a lot of traction. I remember when you really didn't even want to deal with social media.
It's still the same. But
I can't tell.
You'd have to though, like, and then when people support you, like I feel like I have a core set of people, like no matter what, they support me, and I feel like I have an obligation to continue to put out art, inspire them in whatever ways, and you know what I mean. So I've kind of come over that hurdle. With social media. I still am not. I wish I need somebody to manage it. I just don't care. I don't care about being on it like that. But
I can say the same thing. My God, anytime it seems like you can say, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna put one post a day, and that post can never happen. That one post,
right?
So I definitely get it. But how has it? I know it has helped you, but how has it helped you for us? Now I don't want to say numbers because you don't do a podcast, but for your merchandise.
Well,
does it help in that way?
I think so. You know what though? Honestly,
okay.
I sell the most anything when I have an event. It's on site. Like at Melanin, sold out of everything, and like right when the thing the documentary premiered, when people was able to buy, gone. I didn't take no books back. I didn't take no candles back. I had pillows. I had all kind of stuff. So I think that I don't promote and advertise enough on social media, probably like I should.
You don't think so?
I don't, because like even when I look at other brands, I'm constantly seeing their stuff promoted, and I don't feel like I even do enough. But when I have an event, that's when it is gone. And then I'll see people like doing videos and stuff in my T-shirt or writing with my pens and stuff. And so it helps in that way for sure.
You know, I still got your shirt that I had from the first Sapphire Diamond episode. I started wearing all I know that's lame.
No.
It's lame, okay? You already had that one. You don't want to do that one. You already had it. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, Sapphire Diamond streetwear. How is this different? I actually don't know the difference, so I'm actually about to learn something for the first time. How is this different from, because wasn't the first one just Sapphire Diamond, right, or just so streetwear? Talk to me about that.
So I feel like anybody who kind of have paid attention to my brand, I do a lot of more like classy, elegant type clothes or looks. Even when I style myself, like it's, heels and, dainty stuff. And so I wanted something more street because I am street, whether you believe it or not. Like from Tampa, listen, I'm street all day. So that's just another aspect of me. And the whole idea behind graffiti and the inspiration behind this project, that's going to be the difference. It's not so much glitz and glam. It's some fire outfits now, but it's not as elegant as the first Sapphire Diamond.
I see you have male models in this project. You obviously Melanin didn't have no males. So how did that come about? When did you figure out, okay, I'm gonna do males with this one, or was that just always in the plan?
Well, you know that I did a Legend fashion show that was all men.
I remember that.
Yes, and so when I did Sapphire Diamond, I had males reaching out too, like, "Oh, you gonna have males in this again?" And that was never the plan in that collection. And so with street and then my message behind this, I wanted it all inclusive.
Gotcha. I actually ran into one of your models. I think his name is Derek.
Yeah.
I ran into Derek. He has a lot of energy. I love Derek.
Derek is a fantastic person.
I love him. So I was actually at the airport, and he said, "Hey man, I know you live in Atlanta." And but that whole ride home, I felt like somebody. Somebody done ran into me.
That part.
And I'm like, yeah, you did a show, Marie. Then we talked and everything. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right, we're going to take a break. So coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk more about the purpose behind Sapphire Diamond streetwear. That and more coming up on the Black Coffee Podcast, and I'm your host, James Allen. All right, welcome back to the Black Coffee Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, James Allen. All right, so Marie Antoinette.
Yes.
I noticed the word survivor being thrown around with this project. Mm-hmm. Why so?
Because this project is to raise awareness for sexual assault, sexual harassment, and just in an effort to support survivors and victims who've endured that.
So I'm taking it that you've had a situation.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. So I actually, when I started doing this project, I started thinking about more situations that I've had that you just don't even think about. But what prompted this project, I was doing a podcast. Someone reached out to me about promoting.
It wasn't mine, ladies.
It was not.
Okay,
Mr. Allen.
Let's go. Okay.
Okay.
It was not.
It was
Black
not
Coffee Podcast.
Mr. Allen.
Put that out there. All right.
So he reached out to me about promoting my Melanin book. He told me he had an actor on his show, and they have a lot of views. Blah blah blah. I'm like, cool. Well, who all gonna be there? Because I'm always very particular about going anywhere where there's a bunch of men. That's just me. Mm-hmm. So he kind of let me know, like, no, it's kind of like a studio audience. It'll be females, whatever. But I asked one of my models from Melanin, I'm like, just come on anyway. Because anyway, even if that wasn't the case, I like to try to give people other platforms and opportunity. I don't necessarily care about being in the limelight all the time, but I feel like if people enjoy that and they're good at it, then go do it. So me and one of the models, we go. And like I can tell when I walked in the door, there was like a little attraction there, but it's like, okay, cool, whatever.
So you and one of the models went?
Me and one of the models went.
Go ahead.
We went to, and it was at a home, but it was set up like this, like a studio space, camera, audio person. And so I saw like his like demeanor, but he was still cool, polite, whatever.
What do you mean by saw his demeanor?
Like, you know when somebody can tell you're attractive, they like looking at you and saying, oh, you're so beautiful, da da da. Thank you. Okay, cool. So when it got time to go to do the podcast itself, it was an audio person there, and we had to be quiet, silence our phones. But before that, he's kind of like pushing alcohol. It ain't even noon yet, so he's like, drink.
He was pushing alcohol.
Yeah, and so it was a young girl sitting next to me, and she's like, no, I don't want it. And I said, no. And she was probably like early 20s, so I know she was a little bit more shy to say no. So I'm like, no, like, you don't understand. She just told you no. Mm-hmm. So he's like, but yeah, come on, loosen up, da da da, whatever. So she ended up taking it. So, but she just kind of like babysat it, drinking it. Mm-hmm. So it's at some point someone is talking. I'm sitting down like this. he's standing next to me. He kind of like touched my shoulder, but okay, that don't necessarily mean nothing. Mm-hmm. So then he like started massaging me, and so like I'm moving out the way because I'm not gonna say anything because the audio and stuff is going while people are talking, and so I look up at him like stop, and he put his finger like shh, like whatever. So he's still doing. I'm like stop. So then at some point I'm like mouthing to my model, and I'm like texting her at the same time, like, you know, what's going on? And as I'm doing that, he leans and he kissed me in the corner of the mouth.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. Nasty wet lips.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, now at this point, we talking, whatever. I'm like, you gonna mess around and go to jail. And he's like, jail? For what? I said, because you don't know when to stop. Like, stop. You don't know no means no. And he's like, damn, shorty, you got a man or something? Like why I can't touch you? I'm like, I don't have to have a man because I don't want your hands on me. So anyway, we end up getting out of there. And him and the actor that was on the podcast at the time, they kind of like coming behind us, like walking us to the door. And he's like, I'm sorry, you know, I just like to show love. That's why you'll see on one of my sweatshirts, it says, I want to show love with a broken heart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like, I like to show love. I want to show love. And I'm like, well, why you didn't show it to the men in the room? I don't want it. Like, if I told you no, no. So I get home and he DM'd me. He's like, well, thank you for coming out. I want to say sorry if I was doing too much. And I said, you were doing too much. He said, well, none of the other ladies had a problem with it. I said, and if you felt that way, then you should have done that to them because I told you no and I told you to stop. And so he's like, well, you just must got a bad pass because, like, I can't remember it verbatim. He's like, but basically what he did wasn't that bad. And so then from there, I just started thinking about, because I work with so many younger women. Like, I'm 38 years old, right? So I can handle myself real well. But my point was I was thinking about the young lady who was sitting next to me who was reluctant to tell him no, she didn't want alcohol. And then as many times as I said no and stop, you kept going. Like,
And she ended up taking it.
Even though she didn't want to, she ended up taking it. And it was just like, you feel, I just started to feel for them because sometimes you're not mature enough or mentally ready to stop certain things. You may not want it, but you don't know what you saying, know how that's going to make the other person react. And so I'm like, I'm going to do a fashion show about this. And it just made me think of graffiti. And the symbolism with that for me was, wow, graffiti is a violation. We're not supposed to go writing on walls, but we look at it as art. Like,
and I always wonder how I get out there. So let's scale back for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Someone listening to this will say she knew what was going on as it was going on, because this happened.
Who is she? Me or
you?
Okay.
Me. When I say you, meaning that. Yeah, that stuff goes on. This stuff goes on in the industry.
Correct.
So, how can I say this?
Just say it.
What would you say to someone that says you knew the situation you was getting into? Why did you even keep going?
No, I didn't know the situation you're getting into, and I feel like you have to be very careful with allegations. So, like when I said he touched my shoulder, I can't say, don't touch me. What you trying to do? You know, you're doing too much. Like, right. That may not even be the case.
Somebody may say, hey, you should have got out right then and there. Why?
Yeah, no, because I'm not 100% sure that that's what's going on. It's a constant assessment. It's an assessment, and it's just like, okay, because my retaliation actually would be to pull out my 9, okay? Like, keep your hands. But see, then you're gonna think I'm doing too much, right? So if I've asked you not to touch me, and you keep violating, and you keep putting your hands on me, I have every right to pistol whip you at this point. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I have every right to do that. So instead of me going from 0 to 1,000, which I have the right to do, I'm assessing the situation like, is this really what's going on? Are you aware? Because I know now he been drinking. Like, he been pushing alcohol. You've been smoking weed. And he's 29. Mm-hmm. So I'm also thinking about, okay, do I go as far as to put you in jail? Do I go as far as to call somebody? Like, it's like, it was similar to, I remember when Megan Thee Stallion said the same thing about getting shot in the foot. How she didn't want to put another black man in jail. You know what I mean? So it's like, is this a point where I need to educate you? Or do I take it there where you taking it? Because we can take it there. But that's not my demeanor to always go that far. So I'm just like constantly assessing the situation. But once it got to the point, because I'm like, you're going to go to jail.
He put his lips on you. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not a woman. But
Yeah.
I think that would have been it. Was it okay? What were the other men in the room? What were they saying? Were they like chill?
Nothing. And so I said at some point too, because it was one point when we were getting ready to leave, when we getting out of there, he's like grabbing on me. He's like, "But you fine, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Get him!" Like I'm pushing away. I'm leaning back. The model she's like, "Marie gotta go." Like we're trying to still not make it so big, but then at the same time, because when you're in that situation, so much stuff is going in your mind. But once I got home and reflected on it, it's like, did that really just happen? I was actually kind of blowed. And me reflecting on it and then seeing his DM to me, like, I don't know, maybe if somebody talked to him once we left, because I was kind of surprised that he messaged me and said he's sorry if I was doing too much. But the other men in the room did nothing. And that was another thing I was looking at, like, at some point you don't say, all right, dude, chill. Maybe it ain't got to get aggressive, but call them off.
So when we was talking about this, you used the words just enough to be abusive. That stuck with me. Now, the reason why I brought that up, because as an educator, I'm a school teacher. And they say, this was somebody that told me, that in the education and the medical field are the two most fields where infidelity goes on.
For sure.
And it's right.
Yeah.
I highly agree. It's just me being a teacher. And the person, that backed it up with facts, of course, the person said that, it's because you're in close proximity. Was that the first time you have ever been hit on?
No.
When it comes to...
No, the thing is this, I think, I can't speak for all women.
Okay.
But just even during this project, a lot of women that I've talked to, this is the thing that we know happen, right? Cat calls, blah, blah, blah. But it's not the first time, because you kind of get used to certain things, but it's the first time that I actually was verbally saying, stop, no, you're going to F around and go to jail, and it wasn't clicking in this person's head. So in the past, when people have crossed lines and I thought like, dang, he was doing too much, or, whatever, I look back on myself and like, well, maybe you wasn't clear enough. Maybe it was you didn't make it clear that you didn't want this, even if your body language said something else. But this was the first time that I know for a fact, I told you.
So give me an example. So I guess you talk about the example that we use.
With in the hospital. You talking about when I said
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was in training, I went to school for anesthesia.
Right.
And this is when I say just enough. So it was times that I'm working with, I can't say colleagues, because in this role I was a student. So someone who's training me on anesthesia, and they might slide their hand just enough to graze your breast to do something. But what am I going to say? Because they can say, I'm showing her how to intubate. So they do just enough to cop that feel, but it's also just testing the waters to see. So then the next time they might graze, go by your waist, and it's just enough, so they touching just enough. And it's like, what do I do with this? And then as a student, you sound that alarm and you don't have no fact, no proof. You just feel it in your chest. That's all you have. If you don't have no fact, what do you want to do with that? Because I felt like they did that. Then people gonna call you a liar. You stirring trouble. Okay, you got to get out of this program. This is a prestigious doctor that we work with. You know what I mean? And that was similar to the podcast too. When he first touched my shoulder, I didn't know how to take that. But it could just be like, hey girl, what's up? I work around men all the time that they don't have no interest in me like that. And they may touch me, but it's not like that. I feel like as a woman, I know when that touch is different. I can't explain it, but I know when and every woman do when they know they're being touched in a way that's weird. And But if you don't have nothing to base that off of, what do you do with that?
Well, every man do too, because I can tell you, oh God, I'm about to get in trouble. Who can be listening to this? Nobody. But as an educator, in the past, not here in Georgia, I can know when a woman you just cross my path a certain
energy,
way.
yes.
It's just like, so now here when a man is, whether you act on it though or not. Majority of the times I didn't act on it, but so I definitely know what you're talking about when you say that. So let me ask you this, because when I first got into the media world, one of my mentors, the first thing he said to me, Marie Antoinette, was don't date anyone in the industry. Don't talk to nobody. Don't try to holler at nobody. Stay out of dating in the industry. And here's why. Because let's just say, and I know, no, I'm not going to even say that, but let's just say you working with another podcast host and they try to holler at you or whatever. You damage relationships. Now, not only have I damaged that relationship, the next person you talk to, hey, I see you did a podcast. Well, James going to try to holler up next. So it spreads, okay? Now, luckily, I haven't dated inside the industry and I haven't tried to talk to anyone because for this reason, and that's the reason why I get a lot of work with a lot of great women like yourself. I say all that to say, this is America, power of forgiveness. Can you ever work with him again?
I would never work with him again. But let me tell you what happened after all that. So he's been in movies and stuff too, right?
Okay.
So I contacted his agency, and his agent, I guess, was a woman. And so I told her what happened. I said, and I'm not saying this because at the same time, you a kid to me.
Mm-hmm.
You just dumb right now. Like, it's not okay, and you need to know this is not okay. And you've been an idiot. So somebody to talk to you. So I contact his agency and I told her and I said, and I'm like, listen, because when certain things first happened, I was already texting the model that was with me. So it's like we were already talking about his behavior sitting next to each other. And I'm like, I got these text messages. I'm not trying to get him in trouble. Mm-hmm. But he gonna get himself in trouble if he don't stop. So I need somebody, if you represent him or whoever need to talk to him, somebody talk to this young man because he acting stupid. And it appeared that he was very intelligent and even with the things he was doing with his own business and podcast, but this is gonna set him back. And like she really appreciated that. She must have said something to him because he blocked me. After that, he blocked me, and he never because I went there because he was supposed to be promoting my book on the show or whatever, but he didn't, whatever, and that's okay. I don't care about that. But you got the message, hopefully, and you keep your damn hands off of people.
So no forgiveness, no forgiving, just
I don't have a problem. No, I won't work with him again. Do I think about him before I go to bed? No, like I'm apathetic. Like you're fine. I don't hold nothing against you. You were being stupid, but I wouldn't work with you again, no.
Mm-hmm. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the vision for Sapphire Diamond streetwear. We also have some questions from the fans for Marie Antoinette.
Uh-oh.
That and more coming up on the Black Coffee Podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and I am your host, James Allen. All right, welcome back to the Black Coffee Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, James Allen. All right, so we talked about the show. What is the biggest message that you want to connect, and who is your audience? I'm pretty sure you already answered that question, but like, what message do you want to get across? What's the main message, and how is this streetwear diamond, Sapphire streetwear diamond?
My audience, I think, is to not only survivors but bystanders as well. As far as what can you do when you see something happening, or like, or when you watching body language of somebody who feel like they're being violated, and so that they're not alone and they don't have to suffer in silence, and take that power back, because I think that a lot of times people don't speak on it because they are ashamed, they're embarrassed, they don't want to, rock the boat. They just kind of are more silent about it, and I think that shining a light on it and talking about it openly amongst anybody that's vulnerable. Children, men, women, trans, whatever. Everybody, nobody is everybody is susceptible to this, is my point. Like, anybody can be affected by it. So just, if we talk about it and put it out in the open, people may not feel that embarrassment or shame when somebody trying them. You know, they'll be more apt to go ahead and say, like, what you doing? Like, if they feel that, sometimes, for me, I've always thought just feeling it isn't enough. That's what I was just talking about. Just because I feel it, what am I doing? That I have no facts. But I'm starting to feel like maybe it is enough. If you feel like somebody crossing your boundary, go ahead and call it out. Like, what we doing here? So that's the message.
Have you ever talked to any males that this has happened to, kind of the other way around? Because I'm sure it happened to males too as well.
Right. Yeah. I've talked to some men that was violated, and at the time they kind of feel like this is what's supposed to be happening, right? Like, men getting girls or whatever. A lot of times they were younger, like 12, 13, and the female was older, or a grown woman. Like, I've talked to men that happened, or another man. Like, it didn't matter if it was a woman or whatever. But the ones that were affected or that had this happen by women, they thought this is what was supposed to happen. They really didn't realize it was wrong, from what I gathered, till they were older.
Wow. I'm jumping off script. So I grew up in East Orange, New Jersey, and I'm an 80s baby. I'm a little older than I'll be 42 next month. And I grew up in an era where abandoned buildings is where things like this happen with little kids. So I would say I was about 12, 11, and an older girl. At the time, I wasn't molested at the time. It wasn't that. It was just, I was just going by, you're cute JJ. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She was way older, maybe 16, something like that. And something transpired, but it made me very promiscuous.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to blame it on that. But that's kind of why I had a child when I was 17 years old.
It probably is why you had a child.
I was already...
Yeah.
I don't, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
I was already there in the middle where girls was like, I'm scared. So by the time I was 17, 18, it was nothing else left to do but basically have a child.
Right.
And now I got 5 kids. So, you know, I just wanted to hear how you talk about when it comes to the male.
Right. The only thing about that, I don't speak on it that much. I need a man to say that, because I feel like I stay in my place as a woman and I can speak from my female experience. Mm-hmm. But I have talked to men, and that's what I gathered from the conversation. But I feel like more men should talk about it. I remember when Terry Crews came out saying that they made fun of him. I don't know if you remember that. That was some years ago.
They did.
They like, oh, you're big, strong, blah, blah, blah. But when it's happening, it's like, for me, it's like I'm assessing, like, is this happening? Like, what's going on? And then it's like any type of thing that you have to process. And so I don't think it's fair, and I think it's insensitive for people to feel like, oh, like when you said, what I say to somebody who say, oh, you know, or even what they did to Suki Hana. I don't care about what she rap about. I don't care about that. She appeared to clearly be ducking and dodging, but she got all these cameras on her. You don't want to come off as like an aggressive bitch. You don't want to get, like blacklisted. You in a situation you don't really know, and people, you can say what you think you might do in those situations, but you don't know.
Do you think women in the industry, let's stay with the industry, do you think they put themselves in those situations?
No, they put
what I mean, you put yourself in a situation, but it's because, listen,
I don't think nobody wake up and say, I want a Negro to violate me.
I ain't gonna say violate. Maybe not violate, Marie, but I want a man to see me.
Okay, maybe. But I'm gonna say this, and this is another reason why I tied this into fashion. Maybe I can't disagree. I can't.
Right.
Two things can be true at once.
I'm gonna put this on. I want somebody to see me, and I might get a deal.
Facts. You're absolutely right. However, the bottom line is consent, though. They may want a deal from that one, not that one. So if that one is doing all the pushing up on it, and I don't want you, I want that one. she got every right to feel that way. So if she put it on and she want to show it all, but she want that one to see her. And if he pushed up on her, she might have accepted openly. But it might be something about you she don't want. And that's okay. You know, that goes into preference, what you're attracted to, all that. You may be completely okay with the woman that aesthetically looks to be the woman of your dreams, flirting, falling all in your lap. But let somebody fall in your lap that you are very unattracted to. You ain't feeling it.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
So she can do that. That don't mean she want you. She might be ready to lay down and have sex all night with the one she wants to do it with, not you. So if it's not consensual, you don't earn that right to say, well, who you put this on for then? Wasn't you.
All right, well, let's change the energy a little bit.
Okay.
Let's change the energy a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So I see you did a photo shoot, and it looked really, really nice for streetwear, for Sapphire Diamond streetwear. You did a photo. So how was the energy in the photo shoot?
Oh, why are you asking me that? Did we talk about something? Wait, what?
How was the energy? Meaning, no, not bad. Like,
that's so very ironic that you asked me that. I almost don't want to talk about it. It came out fine.
what? I'm saying something wrong. I'm sorry. Just go.
Wait, what?
Yeah, what? I'm just a podcast host.
Okay, it turned out fine.
When I say energy, meaning, you doing streetwear, usually with a photo shoot.
Which photo shoot? Like the one we was on the belt line?
Yeah.
Okay, that was great.
Which one you thought? Which one you thought I was talking about?
No, I'm not going there. We're gonna go with what we're talking about.
Whoa.
No. So on the belt line went to abandoned building.
I feel like I scratched the surface or something else.
Leave me alone, okay?
I could never get the tea, but we're gonna talk about that later too. But go ahead on, man.
So yeah, that was great. We did a shoot on the belt line. I worked with EDP Film. They did a fantastic job, just like, filming the vision and stuff that we had talked about. And the energy for that was great. It was.
What am I not getting? What are you holding back from the Black Coffee Podcast?
Listen, the energy for the promo video shoot was fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yes.
It was good.
Yes.
All the models. And the reason why I say that, because I want to, was your daughter?
She was.
Okay,
she
talk
the
about
basketball.
that.
Yeah, so she's normally very, very shy, but it was
She
something
be
about
balling.
this.
I be seeing her.
Yes, but it was something about this. I'm like, you want to do it? She was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I was a little bit surprised, but she did it, and she was a part of that. And two of the models that I worked with in the past, and my assistant's daughter, little baby Harper, she was in there. So yeah.
Are there a lot of models are there any models in this one that has been in? God,
Yes.
hold on, you didn't did a couple. Now hold on, first one was.
Yeah. So yes. So what I tried to
No,
do
first was
too,
all male. So yeah, that's right. Second one was.
So what I tried, so I work with Derek in the male
Derek, I
one. So
remember that
Derek
one.
is in this one,
Okay.
and then what I try to do, like because I'm very big on energy. I don't care what you look like, how well you walk. I know. I just you threw me off, but anyway,
I bet I did.
I'm big on energy. So once I work with people, because sometimes too, when you start working with people, you got to iron out personality or characteristic things. Sometimes you might text something, it's not meant to be like that, whatever. So once I start working with people and they know how I work and I know how they work, I like to keep it like that. Now, as far as models go, I do like to give different people new opportunities. However, I realize everybody's not serious about being a model. So I have like my core people. They still come out to casting calls and stuff. I can depend on them. And so when I come back and ask them to do like promo shoots and stuff, then like they get on the contract and then they get paid and different things like that. So I like to be able to do that with models I work with.
I think I know a couple that's kind of your call them rolling models, but they're so dedicated. And they do a great
I love 'em.
job. I got this girl. I ain't got this girl. She's an ELA teacher. I'm gonna send her to your your information. So she's 20, and I want to be a model. I want, and I'm just looking at her energy. I'm like, Marie might be able to use her. I ain't say your name because I don't want her to think, oh, you just automatically in. 'Cause that ain't how this, how this work.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I am going to get her because I think you can use her energy, and I love what you do with those girls. So, okay, so let's talk about the fashion show per se, what's going to be different from, I'm talking just fashion show, what's going to be different from this fashion show versus the first Sapphire Diamond fashion show?
Well, number one, I have more models. And then, like we talked about earlier, it's males included, it's children included. So, like, just people who coming out on the runway, that's more inclusive. And I have more of a setup like this. I work with EDP Film, and we've been documenting my process the whole time. So this fashion show opens up with a mini documentary, right? So like just showing the stuff, because my last Sapphire Diamond, so much stuff happened, and I did like a reunion special, like following up about that. So I thought this time, let me document the process all the way through. And so just things that happen with me personally, things that happen with fittings and different stuff. I just want to show people, because I get, and believe it or not, I get calls and people reach out to me about helping them with a fashion show.
I can believe it.
I don't mind at all, but you do gotta pay, right? So sometimes they don't be one. Now if it's somebody like I mess with, and that's different. I'm gonna help them, and I'm not looking for no money. But I don't know you like that. Come on. So I feel like this also would help those who are interested in that. They'll see like how I plan and organize and just that process. And I think it's just going to be more of a party. Like I have a fantastic DJ. The last time the music was like, Now, I'm not talking about for the walk. I'm talking about the after part. Nah, I ain't one nothing I was really crazy about. But this time it's like going to be more of a party. I always have the fashion show around my birthday. So this year is like right after my birthday. And I think people are really going to enjoy it. Like the venue is nice. It has like balcony seating. VIP is upstairs in the balcony. They're getting full meals from the chef will be up there with them.
Okay, yeah.
That part.
We getting full meals. I heard that U.N.I.A. world. Okay? We. All right, so have a couple fan questions. This is totally for the fans.
Okay, I think you lying, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Why did I know as I was going through the pre-show, as I was going through this, I said she gonna think I'm lying, but I'm not. All right, but so first question, have you ever thought about walking the red carpets in Atlanta as a talent?
Like as a model?
Yeah, not necessarily as a model, but as like a talent. Like you know, I be on red carpets. I know I don't see you there, but you know how sometimes you have MUA people, makeup artists walk the red carpet.
Yeah,
but you're a huge figure in your own right.
I never thought about. You know what? To be completely honest, I don't be knowing when stuff going on. By the time I know about an event, it's over. Like, right? And then I, just be busy. And I used to be busy with my mom, busy. I still work a full-time job. So I used to just focus on the whatever project, whatever I need to film at the time. And then I don't think about nothing else. I think I wouldn't mind doing it, but I never even... Yeah. I'm never up to date and up to speed on anything to be anywhere at any time.
And if you don't get those emails, you won't. I get those emails, obviously, but it's because of the camera.
Yeah.
Second question, and this is totally from a fan. Is there a lucky person in your life? That's a fan. There's a fan.
Mind your business.
Is there a lucky person? That's I think last time something like that we talked about this.
Yeah, you was trying it.
No, but you gave another show to Tito.
What?
Wait, what you mean? What? The show you went on right after mine.
I ain't told nobody about no relationship status.
You ain't say nothing.
Lies. I did not.
You said something.
That's a lie.
or you you said you ain't say nothing.
No. Don't talk about that.
It was a fan asked.
Yeah.
So what?
No.
So you gonna let me? What's
fan, up? Mind your business. I appreciate you being a fan, though.
See that she go.
You got to focus on the clothes. You can't be focusing on what Marie is doing.
Ma'am, I put together this whole podcast. I'm doing my job. I'm just telling you what the
You're
fan.
You're doing a fantastic job too.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, fam.
So you're not gonna answer my
next question.
It was only two. That was the last one. So that's it.
That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard it, man. You heard it now. You heard it. So no lucky person. No nobody you could
Why are you still talking about this? You tried this the last time. Like, come on.
All right, U.N.I.A world. All right, so now go ahead and tell us about the fashion show, where you get the tickets, where it's going to be, and all that, more details for my fans so they can actually buy a ticket.
Yes, so Sapphire Diamond Streetwear will be October 1st, 2023 at the Atlanta Event Center from 6 to 10, 6 to 7. That's our cocktail hours, hors d'oeuvres, drinks, all that. As long as it's not raining, it's poolside stuff, all kind of stuff. You can get the ticket on the link in my bio on Instagram, which is at Antoinette929, or on my website, www.antoinette929.com. And it's on Eventbrite. I think you probably have to look up Marie Antoinette, but it's easier to get to the link off my Instagram.
Speaking of Instagram, tell us your Instagrams and your social media handles.
Yep, at Marie Antoinette 929. That's all I got.
It's another Marie. Somebody else, I don't know if it's fake, because somebody else had to try to have a U.N.I.A word. It's another Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, and that person actually follows me. It's weird.
Is she a real person?
I don't know, and it's 919.
Yeah, right. I saw that. I saw that one time.
I don't know.
All right. Well, that's the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Any final thoughts, Marie Antoinette? Final thoughts. You have the floor.
No, just I would just tell everybody, no means no. Respect people's boundaries. If that energy is showing you like, even if you've been feeling the person and it seems like it's okay, and they give you any innuendo that they don't want to be bothered, go ahead and leave them alone. Just so you don't get caught up, they don't get caught up, and that's it. Just respect everybody and be safe out there.
Marie Antoinette, I want to thank you so much for coming back to the Black Coffee Podcast for the third year in a row. We'll keep this going forever. Okay, You're doing a really, really good job. That's it. That's all I have for today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Till next time, I am your host, James.
Peace and blessings.
The Black Coffee Podcast. The Black Coffee Podcast.
Black Coffee Podcast. You know, I tried to end up.
Yeah.
The Black Coffee Podcast.
Ooh, that's so cool. Ooh, that's so cool.
So cool, you did this one, man. Yeah. Black cup, huh? Power to the people. Here we beat my fist. Twice the baller, what they call him. James Allen, Mr. No Assist. Elevate the masses, step in my objective. No quits. Through the pot, let's take a sip. They taking shots, we taking trips. Pilot vision, U.N.I.A mission, just to be specific.